Have you ever wondered why your life feels like it's stuck in a loop, repeating the same struggles and frustrations day after day? If so, you're not alone. Most people wake up in the morning and immediately start thinking about their problems. Those problems are connected to memories, and those memories are linked to certain people, events, and circumstances that have shaped who you are today. Your brain, much like an old tape recorder, plays back the same cassette of experiences and emotions over and over again, leading you to relive your past every single day. But what if I told you that this cycle of repetitive thinking and feeling is what keeps you trapped in the same life you're trying to change? If you've been struggling with the feeling of being stuck in the past, then try this. Start by understanding that your brain is a record of the past. The moment you wake up and begin to think about your problems, you are already living in the past. Each of your memories has an emotional component, and emotions are the final product of past experiences. So, the moment you recall those memories, you immediately start to feel unhappy, sad, or even in pain. How you think and how you feel creates your state of being, which means it creates your character. If your entire state of being is rooted in the past, then your past, sooner or later, will become your future. Let me explain this with a simple example. Imagine something happened yesterday that made you angry. Today, you wake up and think about it again, and you feel that anger all over again. Now, if you keep doing this for 2 days, people might think you're just having a bad day. But if you continue this pattern for a week, they'll start to think you're in a bad mood. And if you carry on long enough, soon, that anger will become a part of your character. You'll be known as someone who is always angry. So, as you can see, your thoughts have a lot to do with your destiny. This means that if you keep thinking in the past, you're going to keep creating the same life without even realizing it. Here's a scenario that might sound familiar. You wake up in the morning and the first thing you do is grab your cell phone. You check your Instagram, browse through WhatsApp messages, read a few emails or texts, and then you check the news. Now you finally feel really connected to everything that's familiar in your life. After that, you go through a series of routine behaviors. You get out of bed on the same side, go to the toilet, grab a cup of coffee in your favorite mug, take a shower, get dressed, and drive to work the same way. Finally, you get to work and see the same people who push the same emotional buttons. When work is done, you hurry back home to do the same things all over again tomorrow. This becomes your routine, and routine works like a computer program. Before you know it, you've lost your free will to this program. It is no longer you who runs the show, but the subconscious program that's been embedded in your brain over years of repetitive behavior. Now here's where it gets really interesting. 95% of who we are by the time we're 35 years old is a memorized set of behaviors, emotional reactions, unconscious habits, hardwired attitudes, beliefs, and perceptions that function just like a program. So even if you say with your 5% conscious mind, I want to be healthy, I want to be happy, I want to be free, the body, which is run by a different program, is not going to let that happen easily. This is like putting an average skinny guy against an Olympic-level powerlifter in a weightlifting competition. No wonder you can't make changes and end up going back to the old program, recreating the same life you've been trying to escape. So, how do you begin to make changes? Well, you have to get beyond the analytical mind, because what separates the conscious mind from the subconscious mind is the analytical mind. And that's where meditation comes in. Through the practice of meditation, you can learn how to change your brain waves and slow them down. When you do this properly, you can enter the operating system of your mind, where you can begin to make fundamental changes. Most people wait for a crisis, trauma, disease, or diagnosis in order to start changing. But why wait for something negative to happen before you make a change? Joe Dispenza's message is this: you can learn and change in a state of pain and suffering, or you can learn and change in a state of joy and inspiration. The choice is yours. Most people spend 70% of their life living in survival mode. They live in stress, so they're always anticipating the worst-case scenario based on past experiences. They literally choose the negative outcomes out of the infinite potential in the quantum field. It's like looking at a menu with an endless amount of food and drinks and choosing the worst possible option every single time. This is how it happens. Every time you recall a negative event, you produce the same chemistry in your brain and body as if the event is occurring again. You are sending the same emotional signals to your body, and your body, which is your unconscious mind, doesn't know the difference. It thinks that the event is actually happening right now. Most people are constantly recreating their negative emotional states by constantly thinking about them. So when it comes time to give up that negative emotion, they might say, "I really want to change." But the problem is that the body is stronger than the mind. The body has been conditioned for years to negative emotions. The body was once a servant, but now it has become the master. All of a sudden, when you decide to change and step into that unknown, the body doesn't like it. The body would rather feel guilt and suffering because it feels familiar and predictable. Being in the unknown is a scary place for the body. Entering into the unknown is like stepping into a deep river. The body knows that if you succeed in passing to the other side of the river, it will die. It will do anything it can to stop you. This is why the moment you start meditating, suddenly your nose starts itching. You remember an important task you had to do, and out of nowhere, you get a memory from 20 years ago. This is your body saying, "Come on, just give up and let's go back to our old miserable life." The body has a lot of tools, and it will use every single one of them to stop you from entering the unknown. But here's the truth. The unknown is the best place to create your future. The easiest way to enter the unknown is through meditation. Once you are in a deep meditative state, you can start creating your future. What kind of new life do you want? What behaviors do you want to demonstrate? What kind of person do you want to be? The act of mentally closing your eyes and rehearsing the things or behaviors you want in your life is the best way to create your future. If you are truly present, the brain does not know the difference between imagination and real-life experience. Through the act of imagination, you are installing the software programs of your future life. Now your brain is no longer a record of the past, it's a map to the future. If you keep doing this, who knows? You may just start acting like a happy person. The hardest part is to teach your body emotionally what the future will feel like ahead of the actual experience. Simply imagining it isn't enough. You need to emotionally feel it in your body. If thoughts are the language of the brain, feelings are the language of the body. It is through feelings and emotions that your body understands what your mind is telling you. If you don't feel anything, then it means your body isn't receiving the signal. It's like in your room, the internet modem is working, but you can't connect because you've turned off the Wi-Fi on your phone. The moment you start feeling the emotions of your thoughts, you are connected to the internet, and you can now start downloading your future life. And you know what this means? This means you no longer need to wait for your success to happen in order to feel successful. You don't need to wait for wealth to feel abundant. You don't need to wait for your new relationship to feel love. According to the quantum model of reality, the moment you start feeling abundant and worthy, you are generating wealth. The moment you start to feel it, you're beginning to step toward your future. Now this means you are becoming the creator of your future. You're no longer living as a victim, saying things like, "I'm this way because of this person or this experience." Unfortunately today, many people are victims of their own negative thoughts from the past. Most people don't realize it, but here's the thing about thoughts. Just because you have a thought doesn't mean it's true. Let me repeat that. Just because you have a thought, it doesn't mean that you should act on it. On average, you think 60,000 to 70,000 thoughts in one day, and 90% of those thoughts are the same thoughts as the day before. If your thoughts have something to do with your destiny, then your life is not going to change very much, because the same thought leads to the same choices. The same choice leads to the same behavior. The same behavior creates the same experience, and the same experience produces the same emotion. This is why it's very important to meditate so that you can become more aware of how you think, how you act, and how you feel.